The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
I had myself on mute. Good morning. It's going to be off to a great start this morning. What I said was, what do you think about that? That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Good morning, Dottie. Good morning, Mary. Hopefully you guys could hear the video and hear me. It's been a little while since I've been back here behind the scene. I got everything set up early this morning and then I came back and it still wasn't working right. I'm like, what is happening? I'm Tabitha Hassell with Tabs on Tap. Good to see you all this morning. So much to talk about. I don't even know where to start. There's so much going on. Let's start here. It's been a while. I took a little hiatus for some health issues for those of you who don't know. And I'm perfectly fine, by the way. Good morning, Karen. I had some, when I was in Georgia, fighting for that vote for Donald Trump, working for Elon Musk, by the way, with America PAC. We're going to get into Elon Musk and the Trump feud here shortly. Well, I started having some breathing problems. Most of you guys know the story. I came home, got a CT scan, had some enlarged lymph nodes, lung nodules, went through all these series of scans, a PET scan, which was positive, told it was probably a malignancy, ended up going to a lung cancer doctor, had some biopsies done. And the last show I had, they said it was some weird infection, like a bacterial infection, just some really strange gram-positive coqui. Well, I've since had an appointment, and they feel that was just a contaminated specimen. So we're kind of back to square one. They don't want to treat me for something I don't have, of course. So I have another scan in August, and we'll just start all over again, but that's okay. I'm pretty confident about things. I don't have any risk factors for lung cancer. I've never smoked. I don't work around asbestos. I've never worked in a mine. So I think I'm pretty good, but we'll eventually figure out what it is. Good morning, Mandy. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Annette. Hopefully you guys are all having a good morning. I have missed talking to you guys. There's so much to talk about and so much we've missed. Although things were a little bit quiet in the news cycle there for a little while. Now everything's back, with full force and never an endless supply. Before we get too far, though, I wanted to kind of jump in about, I heard that my former co-host, Vic Faust, that he is no longer doing his conservative talk podcast in the morning. We were all part of Cancel This, myself and Vic, and of course, Eric Johnson, and another person who shall remain nameless because she sneaked her way in like a little snake in the grass, but we won't talk about that right now will we? But I hated to hear it for Vic, but I also understand where he's coming from. Despite the fact that I left the show, I mean, I really like Vic. I have no problems with Vic at all. And I feel his pain. Now, on this show, I've never even attempted to get a sponsor. Yes, I don't have a ton of listeners. I think each of my shows average anywhere from about 500 to sometimes 1,200, 1,300 listeners per show, depending on what day and what time and all that other stuff. And good morning, Rob. And I haven't tried to get a sponsor. It's not easy to do. Now, somewhere down the line, if the show gets bigger, I start having more guests on, start doing a little bit more, I may go out and try to get some sponsors. But I will tell you what, it's not easy. And I know exactly where Vic is coming from. When we were on Cancel This, we had a really good run. We had some fantastic sponsors, people who own different companies who were more than happy to speak up about conservative values. Strategic Air, we had uh, Kathy Helbig and Steve Strick, her husband. We had a lot of people that came on and really supported us, really good conservatives. But I will tell you from other shows, good morning, Colonel Joe Adams. I can't wait to talk to Colonel Joe Adams on Wednesday. We'll be getting into that too. But I know so many business owners. When I was on Cancel This, and when I was on Real Talk, it is not easy to find conservative sponsors because you know what? Here's the difference between us and them. Democrats will absolutely sponsor a Democrat podcast, a liberal podcast, liberal shows, etc. They don't care what anyone thinks. And unfortunately, it's led to the demise of many of their businesses because they have to go out and show hatred. Look at Circus Taco. Look at O'Connell's Pub if you're here in the St. Louis area. Those are people who are very liberal owned businesses, restaurants, who talked about murdering police officers. They were very outspoken and very violent. And I had to block the guy that owns O'Connell's Pub from all the crazy messages he sent me. But on the other hand, we have concerns, and it's not like they have to be all out. You don't have to come on and give interviews and talk about politics at all. But they don't want to they don't want to sponsor conservative podcasts or conservative radio because they're fearful that they will lose business. And what I keep trying to tell these people is there are more of us than there are of them. And when I was on Real Talk and on Cancel This, I would talk to business owners I know who are good patriots, who are good conservatives, and they would say, listen, I can't take that chance with my business. I have liberal customers that come in, and if they knew my political affiliation, I would lose those customers. I'm like, yeah, stand up for yourself and your country. There are more of us than them. I don't understand why business owners, conservative business owners, don't get it. So back to Vic, I definitely feel Vic's pain, in that we tried really hard to get conservatives. And if you own a business, I'm not asking you to sponsor me. I'm not looking for sponsors, but I right now. But I will tell you that go out and do something. Just because you're a business owner, have that faith that we are bigger than them. We are stronger than them. There are more of us than there are of them. And if you support a conservative business or a conservative podcast or a radio show or what have it, you will see your returns actually double, no question about it, because we will go out and support the folks who support us. Oh, let's see here. Good morning, Ruth, over on YouTube. Good to see you on YouTube. Good morning, Mary, my friend Mary. Good morning, Vernon. So I wanted to throw that in there because I hated to see Vic end his show. And I know he's going to be doing some exciting other things that are going to be non-political, but I also hate to see it happen because I hate to see people give up their aspirations to move on to something different. So more on that as we get some updates from Vic. I haven't talked to Vic, by the way, and I didn't see his talk that he gave when he ended the show. I've just heard people message me and contacted me about it. And good morning, Beatrice. I hope you guys are all doing really, really well. We're going to talk a little bit about gardening at the very end of the show. I spent a lot of time in the garden yesterday, so we're definitely going to have to get into that. But in the meantime, obviously, the big story of the day is the Los Angeles riots and how this came to be, what is happening. I'm sure you guys feel a lot like I do. And that is ICE is there for a specific purpose. This is what Donald Trump campaigned on. It's what we voted for. I don't think there's many conservatives who are unhappy about ICE and what ICE is doing. We had ICE that showed up at the Home Depot with criminal warrants. These were criminal arrest warrants for people who are violent offenders. Amongst those people, one of those was arrested at one point for homicide. One of them, or investigated for homicide. Another one was a child predator. We have all kinds of different charges against these people. And Democrats and Democrat leaders, they will face going to prison themselves for the rest of their lives to protect these criminals. And it's absolutely ridiculous. You just cannot, I can't even wrap my head around it that these people would go this far to protect criminals. But you know what it is? It's the lies. Most of these people out there protesting are either A, paid protesters. They're being paid to be there. They don't care about the cause or what the reasoning is behind it. They're being paid to be there. There's a lot of evidence of these being paid protests, which I'm going to show you. Or number two, they're just misinformed because we have the Mayor Bass, we have the LAPD police chief. I think it was his name. Is it McDonald? Uh, I posted some stories about him yesterday. We have Governor Newsom, who are all speaking out saying everything's fine. There's nothing going on. There's no violence. It's a peaceful protest. And they say, oh, we got to protect all Californians, all Los Angeles, regardless of who they are or where they came from. And all they're doing is fueling the fire. They're just fueling the fire. And of course, we're going to have riots when they're fueling the fire and we've got paid protests. These people have no idea what they're even out there fighting for, which is really a shame. Good morning, Brenda. Good morning, Sarah. Sarah says we might be bigger than them, but liberals will throw bricks or burn your business down. They will, and even more so here in the near future. And Linda, we lost a couple in church because they felt we were too Republican. That's crazy. You come to church to pray, right? To worship God, not to worry about politics, which is ridiculous. Good morning, Darren. So there's a lot going on. I've got a ton of videos to show you guys to show you exactly how peaceful these Los Angeles protests were. But before we get into that, one of the things I really want to bring up is that this is a paid protest. We know these people are being paid. We saw videos of Antifa arriving by the busload into Paramount, California later yesterday, along with, of course, the National Guard was obviously tipped off because they were also arriving in Paramount. And I think they were able to keep things mostly under control yesterday. And of course, the peaceful protesters, they also looted some stores while they were at it. I mean, why not, fight against deportation and, get some new shoes and maybe a handbag or something. And of course, that's where it always goes, doesn't it? Always goes to the looting, which is highly unfortunate. The LAPD, the police chief, they're going to protect these people. And I kept asking myself, like, why are the police fighting back? In a normal situation outside of a riot, outside of a protest, if you throw a brick, I mean, I'm talking about a block of chunk of concrete down off of an overpass, just missing an officer by about an inch, they're usually going to shoot you, right? Because this person's trying to kill that police officer. But they didn't do anything. They fired some tear gas, but probably because they're not allowed to. Their hands are tied behind their back because the LAPD police chief supports these people. Look at Maxine Waters out talking about, oh, let's just make them all citizens right now. Let's just do that. These people are insane. Good morning, Margie. Good to see you also. Glenn Thompson, Summer of Love. You got that right. It'll be the summer of violence because this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. As a matter of fact, I've got some other cities here. If you follow me on social media, you've probably seen this post already. Today, they are supposed to be in Tampa, Florida. And then here we have, of course, Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Houston, Nashville, New Orleans, Charlotte, San Francisco. I believe they were also in San Francisco yesterday. Detroit, Seattle, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Baltimore, Boston, Miami. These are the cities that they are planning to riot in. Now, whether we'll be able to stop them, I don't know. I didn't see a lot going on yesterday to stop anyone from doing anything. Maybe that's just because we're gearing up and getting ready and, and I my own personal theory, why we didn't really see a whole lot of action on the part of the National Guard is that we've already been told that the National Guard is in Los Angeles to protect federal buildings, and that's it. That's it. I think Donald Trump has probably said, "Hey, Gavin Newsom. Hey, Mayor Bass. Hey, Police Chief McDonald, whatever that guy's name is. This is on you. You need to go out and protect your own citizens. We are using the National Guard to protect our interests, which are the federal buildings. Now, we have 500 active duty Marines on their way to the Los Angeles area. What are they going to be doing? I have not yet heard. Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning, Jeannie. So I'm going to show some of these videos to you. Boy, I have a lot of them. I have a lot of video because there is just so much going on in Los Angeles. And there were so many videos I could have shown, but there's only so much time in the day. So we're just going to start at the beginning. Now, before you say anything, I had posted this yesterday about bricks. They're actually cinder blocks. And all the replies were, "Oh, that's at a Home Depot store. That's where this all started." Yes, possibly my suspicions are, I don't have any way to prove this, is that these rioters went back behind the Home Depot. They carted these cinder blocks out on these pallets, but I don't know. I don't unless they had a forklift, how did they move these pallets of cinder blocks to where they were? Well, I'm just going to show you the video. You can see for yourself. Now, if you guys can't hear this video, let me know. So they didn't move there on their own. They're not within Home Depot like people keep saying they are. Are they in the parking lot? Yes, but somebody used a forklift to move those pallets of cinder blocks. They didn't move on their own. I didn't mean to hit that right now, but we'll just play it anyway. That's Beverly Hills, Patriots of Beverly Hills. I'm a member of that group, actually. I didn't mean to play that video yet, but it's okay because we need that patriotism, don't we? I'm a member of that group. I met these folks when I was back and forth to California quite a bit a couple years ago, and they are fantastic people. Sylvester Stallone is part of that group, and they are some really great, fantastic patriots, and they are doing their best right out of Orange County, Beverly Hills, trying to get out. And not only did they get the vote out for Donald Trump, but they're doing extra overtime work trying to get a Republican, of course, into the governor position. Greg says, rather than spend lots of money at the federal level against this, I think our intelligence agencies need to track and trace the organizers and prosecute the crap out of them. I agree, Greg, and we're going to talk about who some of these organizers are and the money that's going into these protests, because everyone, of course, we first start thinking about Soros, and Soros probably is a backer, but one of the backers might actually surprise you. Good morning, Scott. Thank you, Scott. I missed all of you too. And Kimberly, the same thing happened in St. Louis riots, pallets of concrete blocks on the streets. And that wasn't the only one. I'm going to show some of the other ones also. And Greg says, these are not sophisticated protests. The breadcrumbs leading to the organizers should be easily exposed. They are the ones to hold accountable for the damage and harm. You're absolutely correct. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show a little bit more about what is being found on the streets. Now, for those people who want to say, well, those cinder blocks were there on those pallets because that's a Home Depot parking lot. That's where all this started. This was the Home Depot that ICE first came to make the arrest. Now, is that true? Is that true? I don't know. It could be a Home Depot. At no point in the video does it really show where that is. It could be, but it doesn't matter. A forklift moved those cinder blocks. They didn't walk over there. They're on the other side of the gates. And so they are not back, on as property of Home Depot. But look, take a look at this. And this will kind of squash those thoughts for you. These are police officers removing containers of rock. I mean, those are you can see them there. Those are containers of rock. I don't know if those same cinder blocks broken apart that people have loaded up, but these containers of rocks and bricks are found all over the city. That's just one example, and then here's another one. So people are bringing these in. There's reporters everywhere. Reporters are seeing these. I didn't see a lot of this on any of the news coverage that I saw yesterday. Clearly, these are organized, paid protests, organized and paid. So let's get down to the who. Who's doing it? Well, one is a company called Chirla, Chirla. And I've looked up their website to see what it is. And if you look on here on this website for Chirla, Chirla, it says give today, know your rights, take action now, become a member. And you have to pay to become a member. You become a member. And then what these people do, they will mobilize you. Do you remember? And I'm sure these people are still doing it, but there was Public Allies. Public Allies is the company that was partially founded by and Michelle Obama. And I've talked about them many times over the years since back in 2012 on a different show I had at 1380 back in the day. There's a company called Public Allies. Public Allies, again, founded by the Obamas. And this was in Chicago long before, of course, that he was probably groomed to be president. Barack Obama was a founder of Public Allies. And Barack Obama, you can go back and see the videos yourself. He always said he wanted to form a citizens' army that was just as powerful, just as funded as the United States military. And he has worked very hard to do that. He's still working behind the scenes. Our government under Obama heavily funded Public Allies in groups like them. We have the Clintons, they own AmeriCorps. A lot of people don't know, but they do. And also heavily funded. And they mobilize these different groups like Acorn, like Chirla, Public Allies, and they mobilize them to come to these different cities as paid protesters. Now, I'm not saying that their protesters and their members are the people out throwing rocks, because a lot of that comes from, guess who? The Muslim Brotherhood. Who would have ever thought the Muslim Brotherhood would be involved in these protests? But they are. And I'm going to get into that again here in just a few moments, because you're probably wondering, well, how can that be? How can that be? But it is. And the other groups are the Revolutionary Communist Party. They were here in St. Louis. Many of you know. Good morning, Cindy. Many of them know the Revolutionary Communist Party. RevCom is what they call themselves. LPL is another communist group. Now, there's another one that just started. I can't recall their name, but it's their brand. They're fairly new. But these groups are all coming out to these protests. We saw them here in St. Louis, and they will often be the people who place the bricks on the different roadways or different areas. So that's one particular option. I've not seen any proof yet that they're there, but eventually what they'll do is they'll hand out flyers. They want people to know they're there. But what these folks do, we saw it in Ferguson. There would be a very peaceful protest in Ferguson. Let's say, as just a perfect example, is when they marched down Grand Avenue in St. Louis. It was a peaceful protest. Then you have a member of RevCom, the Revolutionary Communist Party. They have a brick, and they throw the brick through a business window, and then they disappear back into the crowd. And then mob action takes over. And then everybody's throwing bricks, everybody's throwing rocks. It just takes that first person to throw that first rock before everyone's doing it. That's when the mob mentality takes over. So there's a lot of different people involved. Now, is George Soros involved? Is he funding these different groups? Does he fund protesters directly? I don't know yet. It's too soon with what's happening in Los Angeles for us to know. But you might ask, how is the Muslim Brotherhood connected? Well, the Muslim Brotherhood has been very outspoken lately that they are offering these boot camps to people like Antifa or to other Democrats, liberals, who want to come out and learn how to fight ICE. It's not a secret. You can look it up. It's out there, all the information you need to know. But the Muslim Brotherhood is holding boot camps to teach people how to fight against ICE. And we got to ask ourselves, why would the Muslim Brotherhood do this? And when Colonel Joe Adams joins me on Wednesday, I hope that's one of the things that we can talk about. How is the Muslim Brotherhood invested in these types of protests? And for me, the answer is easy. It's because they want to dominate, they want to cause chaos. They see how chaos can further their cause, which of course is to take over this country. And as a matter of fact, I've got a video. This is how dangerous this situation in Los Angeles could be, is that there are numbers, there's a number, a lot of people talking about people in these protest crowds yelling out, what is it? I never can remember. I can't remember. Sorry. I just keep hitting the wrong button. Sorry about that. It's been a while since I've been back behind the scene here. So let me find this video. Here it is. Is it Allah Akbar? Is that what they yell? Something like that. Let's take a look.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Takbir! Konti Saudi! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Takbir!
It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before this turns into something much more serious, because there's a lot of unhinged people in this country and they tend to gravitate around chaos and destruction. Good morning, Sandy. Thank you, Sandy. Glad to be back. If I can just get my buttons right, we'll all be good. I didn't even, I keep hitting a button. What's funny is I didn't even know that button played videos, but apparently it does. And so, again, Muslim Brotherhood, look it up, do your research. We'll talk more about that in the coming days. Holding boot camps to teach people how to fight against ICE, how to fight against deportations, and groups like CHIRLA, CHIRLA, hiring people to come out and protest. Again, Antifa arriving by the busloads. And this is just the beginning. This is not going to end anytime soon. We're going to see these same riots continue today, tomorrow, the next day, and not just in Los Angeles, all across the country. You know, how far will Donald Trump allow it to go is the question. I don't think very far. You know, I know JD Vance spoke out earlier today and said, you know, Donald Trump, President Trump is not going to allow this to happen. He's not going to allow it to continue. And then, of course, Trump made a statement himself, which I wasn't even planning on reading. I'm not sure how many of you guys saw it, but we will talk about it. Let's see here. Since I wasn't planning on talking about it, I don't have it pulled up. Here's what he said. He said, a once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now, violent insurrectionist mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try and stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, in coordination with all other relevant departments and agencies, to take all such action necessary to liberate Los Angeles for the migrant invasion and put an end to these migrant riots. Order will be restored, the illegals will be expelled, and Los Angeles will be set free. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Kimberly, summertime, riot season. Yeah, like Glenn said earlier, the summer of love. Of course, that's referring to the riots that took place back in the 60s. And it is a little bit reminiscent of exactly that. And I want to show a couple other videos here because trust me, I've got lots of them. So here's another. This is the violence. This is the violence that not only ICE is feeling from these protesters, but also your typical LAPD officers, who, by the way, I didn't see a lot of during these riots. Oh, I can't. Sorry, I'm just a mess with my buttons today. This is the one I meant to play.
Hey,
So they're going to go
Hey,
up here and block these ICE
Bronco!
officers and begin to attack them. So in any normal
Hey, Bronco, right here!
attack,
Get right there, get right there, get right there!
look at that. They're throwing bricks at you. See this guy? And these people have gasoline. These people have gasoline. I've got a video here I'm going to show you. These people have gasoline. This is what's so scary. Now, this is them attacking a abandoned Jeep that had an American flag on the back. These idiots, they don't even realize how dangerous this is. Pouring gasoline and lighting it and crashing. They nearly blow themselves up.
Oh, shit! What the fuck?
Sorry for the language. They have gasoline. These are dangerous people. Now, what are we going to do about it? These are very dangerous people. Don't tell me that this is a peaceful protest. There may have been peaceful protesters, but a lot of those peaceful protesters, as it started getting dark, if you were watching the coverage, they either A, left, or they barricaded themselves. Do you remember that? And the news, oh my God, the news coverage was so incredibly ridiculous. It was so stupid. I was watching CBS and their coverage, and they're like, oh, they're moving all these furniture and all these objects over there. What are they doing? They're barricading themselves, dummies. That's what they're doing. And that's exactly what they did. They were moving everything they could find between themselves and police. And of course, that's when the true fun starts, right? Isn't it? After dark. I can't believe they haven't called martial law yet, quite honestly, in Los Angeles. And then not to mention, let's see, Margie says the beginning was Michael Brown. Riverfront Times Riverfront Times ran ads to get rioters. I know, isn't that crazy? Mary says the city of angels has turned into a city of devils. It's just a crazy situation. I think most of you guys have seen a lot of the same coverage that I did. I'm trying to see. I want to show this video because this is, I think, insane to even watch. And I'm sure you guys saw this live. See what they're doing? Tell me this didn't work yet. I'm gonna backtrack here on this video because I want you to see this. Let's see. I think it was just a little bit before here. Now I want you to watch this very carefully to show these people and what they're doing. There. Do you see that? Do you see what they're doing? See all those rocks that they have? And they all have hammers. They're all breaking apart city curbs and cinder blocks that they're carrying in their backpack. See what they're doing? They're breaking apart that curb. Now, you can't tell me that this was not organized. This is definitely organized. Someone organized these protests, and what they have done is they told these people, bring your hammers. You know, we're all going to bring hammers. We're going to use these hammers to break up the bricks or cinder blocks that people are dropping off on various areas around the city, or we're going to use them to break up concrete barriers, curbs, whatever type of infrastructure they can get their hands on. They all have hammers. And did you see what they're doing there? They have successfully formed a little bit of a line to where we have one group of people breaking up these curbs, breaking up these cinder blocks that they had in their backpacks, and then handing those off to another person who hands them off to the people who are throwing them over the overpass down to onto the police. It's absolutely insane. John Wick, good morning, John Wick. Haven't seen you in a while. Loved the water CNN propaganda piece. Oh, yeah. Shows up at boarded up ICE asking why they have guns. We all know because they tried to burn it down. Evidence DNC CNN is collaborating with violent riots. I couldn't agree more. And Maxine Waters, I saw that video and she wanted inside. Do you remember that? And they shut the doors on her. They're like, nope. And she said, I want to use my congressional authority. I'm like, why does this woman have congressional authority? Why is this woman still in any type of office? And then she says, right before the shot ended in the video, oh, why do these officers have guns? These young, I don't know if she said young people or young men didn't join to kill people. They didn't join to get bricks thrown at them either. And if you guys saw, more of that video of police at the underneath that overpass, there was at one point one of the police officers came out and he was, I guess, going to move one of the vehicles, something along those lines. And he went over there and they threw this huge chunk. It was the biggest chunk I had seen yet of concrete right down. It probably missed this officer by about an inch, And to me, that gives that officer the right to shoot back, not with rubber bullets, with real bullets. And why aren't we just gathering these people up? I know there's a bigger plan of action. I know there is. I know there's a plan of action. But to me, the spectator watching it from afar, I'm thinking, okay, we have 2,000 I just can't talk, National Guardsmen there in the area. LAPD, forget them. There are some good people who work for LAPD, but they're ran by a liberal lunatic. So forget LAPD doing a whole lot of anything because we didn't see a whole lot of action from them yesterday at all. But why can't we just surround these areas? Push all the people to the center. And I don't care if you're there peacefully protesting or not. Let's round you up, find out who you are, why you're here. And you know what? That would end this protest pretty darn quick, wouldn't it? But of course, we've got to worry about people's. We don't want to violate their personal rights, even though the people who are there protesting peacefully do have a right to peacefully protest. When the entire process turns into a violent riot, then you know what? Your rights are over at that point, because you know what? You're better off just don't go, just stay home if you don't want to be part of the fray. But yeah, a lot of these. Good morning, Robert. A lot of these people, these media agencies, they're right in the middle of it. And John Wick, I was just going there and I saw your comment. You are absolutely 100% correct. It's evidence the DNC, CNN is collaborating with violent riots. Representative Waters, CNN propaganda piece, shows up at ICE asking, yeah, there's absolutely no question about it. And yes, they did try to burn it down. And for those of you who are watching, what happened later on in the day is they were really gearing up there in Paramount, California, which is where the ICE headquarters is. And I saw them, trying to break into the ICE building, trying to burn it down, assaulting police officers that were going in or out of that ICE building. I wouldn't have a podcast if I could tell you how I really feel and what I would do if I were in their situations. I would be taken down on every single podcast network. So you can just leave it to your imagination. But the time has passed to be a pacifist when it comes to these violent protests. And look at the people who were at the Capitol building on January 6th. Yes, there was some skirmishes, there was some violence that took place, mostly by Antifa, people posing to be conservatives. But by and large, you saw people filing through the Capitol building very peacefully at one point in a line. They were staying within the ropes even as they were first coming in until it got to be where there was just so many people. They were posing with photos with Capitol police officers. So you cannot compare these two situations. You absolutely cannot. Because if it were reversed and we had these Antifa folks running into the Capitol building, they'd burn the whole place down. That's what they would do. Michelle, good morning, Michelle. Good to see you too. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Glesna from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So we only have a few minutes left. I want to show. I think I'm not going to show all these videos, but if you guys, a lot of you weren't here in the beginning of the show, so I want to show again. Now, Elon Musk posted this, and we're going to talk next about the Elon Musk and Donald Trump feud, because I know a lot of people don't think so, but I believe it's a real feud. We're going to talk about, I do not think it's a PSYOP operation. But what I do want to say before I play that is that we're going to talk more about this rioting situation tomorrow. We're going to talk more about the connection with the Muslim Brotherhood and these riots and how this is, believe it or not, Islamic extremism has made its way into funding these type of protests. And because why? Because they know they will get results from it. And what do they want? They want to recruit people, they want to radicalize people, they also want to cause chaos just as much as the Soroses of the world does. So we're going to get a little bit more into that tomorrow and who could potentially be funding. Colonel Joe Adams, as a Marine, I served on riot duty in Washington, D.C. In May 1971, we arrested over 12,000 people. Colonel Adams, why can't we go back to those days? These people need to be arrested. They need to be rounded up. Most of them have masks on. It's not, you know what's something interesting about that when it comes to J6? I don't know if you guys remember, but of course they had all that surveillance footage. There were people that were identified by facial recognition who you could see nothing but their eyes. You remember that one guy? They identified him through facial recognition, and all you could see was his eyes. He had like a mask pulled up and a hat on, but they knew who he was. Are they going to do the same thing here? There's a lot of footage. There's a lot of people not wearing masks at all. Are they going to go back and look at each of these individuals and figure out who they are? I already know who some of them are because a lot of people are posting who these people are. It is time to stand up and it's time to do something. And I'll tell you what, Donald Trump is not going to play around. I think right now, now I'm only speculating. I think there's a good possibility that Trump is kind of sitting back saying, okay, let's leave it in the hands of Governor Newsom, Mayor Bass, the LAPD police chief, and let's just see how they handle it. Let's see how they handle it. Let's show that they're not doing a darn thing other than saying this is a completely peaceful situation. Oh, there's nothing going on here. And of course, the media completely compliant, only showing the peaceful protesters and not the violence. They're so good at convincing people, the media, they're so good at convincing people that these are peaceful protests that they were trying to say that all of the police vehicles that were on fire, even that Jeep, I showed you guys how they had the gasoline they poured on that Jeep and set it on fire just because it had an American flag on it. And beware, by the way, if you have an American flag on your car, because this is coming to a neighborhood near you soon. But they were trying to say, oh, all these vehicles got set on fire from flashbangs, from police officers. Seriously? This is the media manipulation exactly that John Wick is talking about. And John agreed, real feud, Musk, Trump, billionaire ego battle. I agree too. And Elon deleted a couple of his ex posts already. I'm sure he did. Good morning, Sherry. Good to see you. Robert says, lock them up, then make them work. Perhaps crop picking. You know, there's a lot of thoughts I have. And, I would like to say that these are all the illegals out there, doing all this writing. Some of them are. I've seen the photos of some of them. Some of them have been identified already. A lot of these people, guess what? Good old American white people who are being paid by groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, the Soroses of the world, Churla, Public Allies. Any good riot that has violence is always, always white people at the center. Trust me on that. I've done a lot of investigations over these riots, and they're typically the ones that get it started. The Revolutionary Communist Party, they live around this chaos. They love it. Kimberly says, Gavin Newsom taunted Tom Homan to come and arrest me. Tough guy, get it over with. He should. I'll tell you what, the best thing I could see today would be Tom Homan showing up and arresting Governor Gavin Newsom, Mayor, of course, Bass, and then that police chief, LAPD police chief. I can't remember if it's McConnell or McDonald, nor do I care. But I want to show you this video really quick that Elon Musk posted. I played this at the very beginning intro of the show, but I know a lot of you joined in later. This is exactly what's going on. And then we're going to talk about Elon Musk and we're going to talk about Donald Trump and the feud. And I still support Elon Musk. I still do. I do. I still support Trump. It's okay to support both people. Now, back in the old days when I was on Cancel This with Vic and Eric, they would have never understood the concept of being able to support both people. They're, oh, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, blah, blah, blah. And I miss them, by the way. I've been thinking a lot about Vic and Eric, and I do miss them. But I'll tell you what, I wish I had somebody to argue with me sometimes these days. But this is what's happening. I'm going to play this for you. And it is okay to support both Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Take a look at this video.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
You got that right. Your tax dollars are paying for it. We're paying for all this rioting. Did you know that? I bet you probably did, which is probably why you voted for Donald Trump. We are going to move on. Something I wanted to throw in there, two things. I keep thinking of more things. Is one way to potentially fight this. I don't know if you guys heard about the Uprisers Act. This is, House Bill 2273. This is what it states, okay? It's exactly the accountability hammer needed, no question about it. Section 2, it mandates visa revocation for foreign nationals convicted of assaulting police or rioting. There are no exceptions, no exceptions. So potentially under the Uprisers Act, HR 2273, we can revoke the visas of any foreign national convicted. They have to be convicted. That's the big word. We're not even picking these people up or arresting them. We don't even know who they are. We don't even know who they are. But we're going to get to that. And let's see here. The other thing to keep in mind is there is an expected estimated number of 2.5 million illegals in California. You know how many people are in the U.S. military? 2.1 million. So they certainly outnumber our American military. Thank you, Mel. That's very sweet of you. And Mary says, I support both. And Cancel This is no longer on. Yeah, Mary, the beginning of the show, we kind of talked about Vic and Cancel This and how businesses need to support conservative voices. And Mel, let's see here. What will Trump do when they sick the underground military age illegals on us? It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Mexico's talking about mobilizing, which is really crazy. Now they're talking about us taxing, their people and tariffs and that type of thing. But, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum just in the past 2 days said, hey, maybe we here in Mexico will talk about mobilizing our military and heading on into the United States. I don't think that will go over very well, but we've got to be careful. We've just got to be careful. And John Wick says, agreed on Newsom. Newscomb, is delusional or collaborating, because when he says there is currently no unmet need, of course he does. He does not mean no unmet need for anyone except the invaders destroying Los Angeles. 100% correct. And these are people we paid. We've been giving them free housing. We've been giving them free food, free clothing, free medical care, free tuition, free everything. And it's all part of the plan. Is the video just I just played you guys? It's all part of the plan. And we're going to talk much more about that. I only have a few minutes left. I'm going to try to throw it as much as I can. I tried to wrap my head around the idea that this feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk was some type of psyop, that Elon Musk was making these accusations against Donald Trump in an effort, a joined effort between them to release the Epstein files. I hate to break it to you, that's not true. It is not a psyop operation. I don't know why Elon Musk accused Donald Trump of being in the Epstein files. As I said on my Facebook page, 99.9999% of me says there's no chance Donald Trump is in those Epstein files, because if his name were there, we would already know. And we had an attorney for Epstein come out and say, no, that's not true. But there's a lot of, I think you guys know me. I am 100% Donald Trump, with him every step of the way. So I'm not saying this against him or alluding to the fact that I think he's part of the Epstein files. I don't think he is. Why Elon Musk said that, I don't know. But I have to say, there's a teensy tiny iota within me that says maybe he knows something we don't know. Maybe that's why the Epstein files haven't been released yet. In Epstein's attorney coming forward saying, oh, no, I asked Epstein and Donald Trump's name is not involved. He might be just looking for a way out for his clients. I don't know. I don't know. I do not think Donald Trump is named in those Epstein files. I don't think Donald Trump was ever out on the island or any of the townhouses where all the victimization occurred. And we won't know that until the files are released. And a lot of people will say, well, if Trump was actually named in there, we would have found out already. I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so is because back when they were releasing, tidbits of information here or there, there's a lot of very powerful people who are involved. And when it comes to powerful people protecting each other, they're not going to get a little thing like politics in the way of protecting themselves. So I don't know. I don't know why the Epstein files haven't been released yet. I think it's because Democrats didn't give all the files to Pam Bondi. I think that it's because a lot of that information was deleted. We talked about it at the time. When Donald Trump became president, we heard the stories that even generals were involved. General Mike Flynn told this story. And he said at that time on an X post, he said, right now, at this very minute, there are generals, there are other folks over there in New York City, and they are deleting the Epstein files as we talk, as I'm posting about this. We talked about it at the time. I don't know that Pam Bondi has all of the real Epstein files. And I don't think that's because Donald Trump's name is mentioned in it. I don't know why Elon Musk implicated Donald Trump. I don't know. John Wick, and they're giving them pallets of bricks. John, earlier in the show, I showed those pallets of bricks, and not just the ones by Home Depot, but other ones as well. They were placed in plastic containers and stationed at different parts of the city, and not just that, but other pallets of bricks as well. Don't let anyone tell you that this is not a paid protest. Pam, tell us why you believe this is a real fight between Trump and Elon. Elon is a true patriot. He is a true supporter of Donald Trump. I know this because I worked for America PAC, Elon Musk's super PAC. As you guys know, they hired me and a lot of other individuals. I spent, 42 days in Georgia getting out the early vote for Donald Trump. Elon Musk put hundreds of thousands of dollars into that campaign to get Donald Trump elected. And I can't prove, there's nothing I can show you that it's a real fight. Getting to being in the position that I was in at that time, seeing the love between these two, seeing that it wouldn't be a very good psyop, quite honestly. there's a lot that tells me that this is a real fight, and I don't think it's about the EV mandates. I really don't. And I know a lot of you aren't going to agree with me, and I perfectly understand. Elon Musk even made a comment on X. He said, "Okay, whatever, Donald Trump. I don't care about the EV mandates. What I care about is the fact that we have this enormous spending bill. And I think you guys probably know this, that they're getting rid of the debt ceiling. They say the debt ceiling doesn't mean anything, and it really doesn't. And they said people panic when we get so close to the debt ceiling, the government wants to shut down. Well, how about if we eliminate the debt ceiling altogether and we'll build this big, beautiful bill, is what they call it, of course. And who cares about the debt ceiling? We're spending, 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 spending. We are spending a lot of money. And if you've looked at that bill, it is not a good bill for America. I love Donald Trump. There are bits and pieces in that bill that I think are fantastic. There's a lot of things in there I don't. And you sure don't hear Democrats standing up to fight against it, do you? Because there's a lot in there for them too. I also don't support the big, beautiful bill. I don't. And Elon Musk said, no, it's not a big, beautiful bill. It's a big, ugly bill. A beautiful bill would be a thin bill. And I've learned when I was working for America PAC that Elon Musk cares about this country. And he feels like many of us do. Now, there's the Trump supporters are divided in this aspect. Some people will support Donald Trump no matter what. It's about the man. You're going to support him, whether he does wrong, whether he does good, doesn't matter. People, the other side, which I am part of, I support this country. It's not about the man. I like Donald Trump. A lot of you know I campaigned for him in 1999, way back in the day. And I met Donald Trump during that time when I was campaigning for him. And so I consider myself an original Trump supporter. However, it's not about Donald Trump. This is about America. It's about saving America, making this country great again. And while Donald Trump has coined that phrase and it's synonymous with him and his two presidencies, and God knows I was up in those mountains of Georgia. I risked my life, like literally. If you guys remember me talking about it, I literally risked my life. I went to these hollers up in the mountains where I seriously thought I was going to get killed. My son was with me, people telling us, you shouldn't be here. We're glad you're here, but you shouldn't be here. And overwhelmingly people. I got attacked by a pack of dogs. For some of you know, I got bit like 4 times. And I fought really hard for Donald Trump to win this election. I love the man, but I'm not just about the man. I did that because I love this country. And I think Donald Trump is the best thing that could happen to this country. And I still think that. And I know Elon Musk thinks that too. But that doesn't mean that Elon Musk, he's a human just like the rest of us. And I think he let his emotions get the best of himself. Him calling out Donald Trump, saying that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files, I think has gone way too far, way too far. And because he said that, I don't think that Elon Musk will ever be back in the White House. I don't think that he and Donald Trump will ever be friends again. I don't think it's a psyop. I absolutely 100% think that Elon Musk crossed the line. But I do absolutely think this is a real feud. And I'm kind of wondering, some of you saw Ivanka. Sorry, I thought I turned that off. Some of you saw that Ivanka appeared at that UFC fight the other day. I haven't seen Ivanka in forever. There were some rumors that Donald Trump's children didn't like Elon Musk and they didn't come around when he was there. Now, I don't know if that's true. It could be 100% BS. I don't know. But I did think that was interesting. And sorry, I'm gonna scroll back up. I don't only have a technically 5 minutes over, but it's a podcast. Who cares? And Mel, Dems blame Trump for everything when they are the cause. You got that right. And John Wick, Musk, Trump. Elon's looked irregular, exhausted. Yes, he is definitely he had a black eye. Where he got that black eye, I don't know. Donald Trump said that he tried to get Elon to put makeup over the black eye and he refused. Who gave him the black eye? I don't know. And if it's a psyop, SpaceX post drew my attention because last 2 starships blew up, possibly sabotage, and couldn't trust SpaceX with astronauts, but Musk deleted the post. Oh, I didn't see that one. If you have a copy of that, you should send that to me. I did not see that. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there was sabotage. Elon Musk put his life on the line for this country and for Donald Trump. He really did. And I have absolute faith. I don't care if he's on ketamine or not. By the way, ketamine, would never condone the use of ketamine. I would never take ketamine. But ketamine is the way people look at ketamine has changed a lot. So I don't look at Elon Musk like he's some crazy drug addict. I don't think he is. What I do think is that ketamine it's used these days. Some people, I'm not saying don't go do this. I'm telling you now right now, don't go do this. I don't think it's safe, but there are people who are exploring the use of ketamine when it comes to parasites, getting rid of parasites. You can look that up online. Don't take ketamine because I said that. Um, I know some people are just go out and take anything to get rid of parasites. Don't do that. But there is a lot of research evolving, and also for cancer treatment. There's a lot of evidence out there that ketamine does take away nerve pain for in cancer patients. So I don't think that's quite as crazy as some led us to believe. I think that was just Elon Musk hate that we were hearing. And let's see here. Brenda says, Elon doesn't understand that Trump's hands are tied. He can only do so much. Trump is confined. Elon is a dictator in his own companies. He makes all the decisions. Trump can't work that way due to three branches. Yeah, I don't know how Elon, feels about that, but I do know that you're right. Donald Trump's hands are tied because if they weren't, we would be moving along at a much faster pace. But everything he tries to do, some court shuts it down, some judge shuts it down, and he is definitely doing his best. There are things that I wish he would do that he's not doing. There's things that he does I wish he didn't do. I don't support the big beautiful bill. I think it's a bunch of BS in there that we don't need as a country. I think it's spending. I pay enough tax dollars. What about you? That's more tax money coming out of your pocket going to things that we don't support. There's things in that bill I also don't like. And I think that Elon Musk just took it too far. I think he took it too far. John Wick, EV mandate, Musk doesn't care. But we all know ending EV tax credits will create let's see, end of year boost in Tesla sales and people buy before they expire. But will they? Tesla, the way I think about it when it comes to the EV mandate, a lot of people are saying, well, Elon Musk is so upset about that because he's going to lose money. Do you really think Elon Musk cares about money? That man does not care about money. He does not care about dollars. I almost not even sure if he cares about Tesla anymore because, who's buying Teslas these days? It used to be the Democrats. It wasn't conservatives, it wasn't Republicans buying Tesla. It was Democrats. That's why when they were all going out attacking Teslas, it was so incredibly ridiculous because they were just attacking, vehicles that belong to their own party. I only know of one conservative that owns a Tesla and he always apologizes for owning it, which I think is funny. I don't think Elon Musk cares about money. I don't think he cares about the EV mandate. I don't. If he cared about money, he would have never so publicly supported Donald Trump because he lost so much money, billions of dollars. And not only that, but the fact that he was giving away millions of dollars. When I went to Georgia to get out the vote for Donald Trump, I went from July till sometime, till the first week of November. And I'll tell you what, I was paid very well. My son went, he was paid very well. And Elon Musk was very personally involved. He set up a text line. So, all of us who are out there in the field, if we saw something that was really touching, whatever it is we thought was touching, for me, I drove my Jeep up this mountain. If you guys know, what is that called? I think they call it the pass. I can't remember. There's a word for it that I can't think of what it is, where two mountain ranges join together. And I remember taking this trek up through the mountains. And I seriously, my son was not with me. He had gone home and I was there by myself. And I drove up this road, and it was a little like one lane road straight up a mountain. Thank God I had a Jeep, straight up a mountain. And then it talked about this pass that I was getting. I'm thinking, what does that mean? And I was surrounded on either sides by big trees and brush. And I thought, man, if I have a car problem, I will die up here. I will literally die. And I got all the way up to the top of this mountain. And what was up on the top of this mountain? The tippy top. As a matter of fact, it was the highest elevation in Georgia. And what was up there was a guy, and he wasn't even there, by the way. It was an RV with a giant Trump flag posted on top. It was the happiest moment I've had in a really long time. And I took a photo and I put it on this text line because Elon Musk was so involved that he saw these texts, he saw these photos that we posted. He called in to the meetings. You can't tell me this man doesn't care about this country. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about this country. It's about America. So I will always support Elon Musk, and I hope you do too. He is not the crazy person that a lot of people, think he is. And let's see, Dottie, big beautiful Bill, build back better. John Wick, everyone, be sure to share this show. Thank you, John, for that. I appreciate you saying that. Robert, Elon owns 13% of Tesla. Yeah, I don't think Elon cares about Tesla. If he cared about money, he wouldn't be one of us. And trust me, he is one of us. I've got to run. I'm 12 minutes late. I have to work today, 12 minutes ago. But I do appreciate all of you joining me this morning. It's good to be back. Thank you also to anyone new who's tuning in today. Good to see you, John Wick. Haven't seen you since my days over at Real Talk. But I think you guys know what's going on here in this situation. Keep your eyes open, keep your head on a swivel, because it might be Los Angeles now, but it's coming to a town near you soon. We'll see how far this situation escalates, how far Donald Trump will allow it to go. And I think he's kind of waiting and watching right now, trying to think of the best plan to, not harm a portion of Americans, even if they don't support him. He is still their president, also, whether they like it or not. And then, of course, he's thinking about the safety of the rest of us as well. But thank you again for joining me. If you like the show, I cannot talk today. If you like the show, share the show. We got to spread the truth faster than they spread those lies. So thanks again, everyone. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We're going to pick this up where we left off. Hope you guys all have a really great day. Thank you, Tammy. Good to see you guys. See you tomorrow. And again, I'm Tabitha Hassell with Tabs on Tap.